Hey, good morning. It's Edna Keep here. Monday morning, January 9th, and welcome to Mindset Monday. So there's a few things that I want to talk about today, but again, feel free to ask any questions. I love to get questions down, so it's actually a lot easier than just talking to myself, talking to the screen. But some of the things that I'm going to get you to think about this week is do you have anyone in your life that you need to forgive? Do you have a past episode that pops into your mind every once in a while? Maybe something a teacher did to you when you were young. Made you stand in a corner, or something that embarrassed you or traumatized you. Do you feel like your parents never understood you or played to your strengths and just played to the strengths of other people in the family? Do you have a former boss that didn't treat you properly? Do you have an existing boss that doesn't treat you properly? When you're thinking about stuff like that, what I want you to do is write out at least three things that you could forgive. So let's say if it's a parent and maybe they were mean to you, maybe they didn't listen to you, maybe you know what they didn't bring you up the way you should have, the way you feel you should have been brought up. So I want you to go there. I want you to really feel that pain. Remember the whole episode that happened, whatever it was. The teacher was mean to you, made you stand in the corner, embarrassed you, told you couldn't read, told you couldn't sing, whatever it was. And really remember that pain and feel it. And then I want you to forgive that person. And the reason why is that just frees up your brain space for better things to come. Forgiveness is huge in your life. And if you have people that you've hated in the past or hate now, let it go. Everybody comes from, they do the best that they can with how they were brought up. So if you need to think about it that way, think about, if your parents maybe weren't the best parents to you, maybe think about maybe their parents weren't the best to them, because a lot of the stuff is generational and it's passed down again and again, and all we can do is notice it and make changes. And you know what, there's things that our kids are going to dislike about us, and if we can forgive and show our kids the forgiveness, I think that's the biggest and best way to go. So that's an exercise that I want you to try this week, and think of at least three. If you can think of more, if you have more anger in your life or hate or whatever, think of more than three and then get that done. I see I have some of my people joining me, so I better put my glasses on so I can see. I have good morning. Look out! Good morning, Courtney. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Harry, Audrey, Terry, Rob. And okay, perfect. Well, thanks for joining me, everyone. So what I was talking about was the power of forgiveness. Like if you have any past hate, any episodes in your life that just really burned you and really made you, it could be the very thing that drives you today. So also think about that. Like what are some of the things that drive you to get up and go to work every day, to prove maybe that former teacher that you're not the dummy that they said you were, or anything like that. So give that some thought, spend some time on it, and let me know how that works for you. If you notice a difference, there's been some studies where they've actually attached electrodes to your brain and monitor when you're going through a forgiveness exercise like that, and apparently it's one of the most powerful. So that's why I thought I would share it with you. And I'm going to be practicing it too. So if it resonates with you, let me know. Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Audrey. Who else do I have on here? Oh, and Carm's on there. Good morning, Carm. Oh, look, I can even see some of that without my glasses. Another thing, oh, here, Audrey's got a comment. She says, God wants us to forgive because he forgive our trespasses as well. You know what? That's very, very true. And it's just, you know, it does, it really frees up your mind to work on more positive things. And I don't know if people seen the post I posted this morning, but it actually made me laugh out loud. So I knew I had to post it. My mentor, Ray Higdon, posts, there's a picture of a guy with no legs. He's got artificial legs and a pair of shorts on. And someone has, he says, people say to me, how can you stay so positive when you don't have any legs? And he says to them, how can you stay so negative when you've got legs? It just made me laugh out loud. So I thought, you know what, that's so powerful. And we need to think like that. We've got legs, we've got, you know, a brain, we've got eyes, all that kind of stuff. The more we can appreciate it, it just doesn't stop you. I think I shared a little bit of this last week, but I read an article on a fellow who the only thing that he can move is his face. And he's a blogger, and he's made over $1 million blogging and sharing his life story with people. That no matter where you are and what you're doing, no matter what your shape your life is in, you can make the most of it. You know, like people say, oh, I can't make $1 million. I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, you know what? If a guy in a wheelchair who can't move anything but his mouth can write a blog and get that kind of stuff happening in his life, that's so exciting. If I can remember his name, I'll put it on here. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Corny. Okay, and then another exercise that I think is really cool. And again, I sometimes mention this more than once, but it's because I think it's so important. So if you ever find yourself saying things like, my life stinks, why can't I get a good parking spot? How come I'm not good at reading? Whatever it is, whatever you're saying, a question, remember that the universe wants to give you whatever you're asking for. And they take that, the universe takes that as you asking for that. So change those questions. Change them to, instead of saying, why am I broke? Why does my life stink? Change them to, why is my life so amazing? What can I do today that could bring about $1 million idea? What kind of person can I become to amaze the world? That sort of thing. I really like this one. How can the universe give me more than enough help than I ever thought possible? You know, so let's ask ourselves those powerful questions this week. And then I really would like it if you guys report back to me some of the stuff that you come up with, some of the stuff that you think about. Hey, good morning, Ange. When you're having those kind of conversations, and to start making that kind of stuff a routine, because I do believe that the more that you can make your life a routine, the less you have to think about, the less that you can just get more done. So one of the things that you could do is write those questions down and stick them on your mirror, so that every morning when you brush your teeth, because that's a habit, right? We don't have to think twice about brushing our teeth. So every morning when you are brushing your teeth, you read that statement to yourself, or those questions, whichever way that you like to set it up. And every night before you go to bed, do the same thing, because we brush our teeth in front of the mirror. We very seldom, well, I guess some people do walk around the house and brush their teeth, but most of the time we stand in front of the sink in the mirror. So have that note up there, and say it to yourself, or ask yourself those questions. And when you're laying in bed, getting ready to fall asleep, if you can remind yourself to say those powerful questions as you're falling asleep, then your mind kind of works on that all night long. So I hope that makes sense. Does anyone have any questions about that? There's some different people that I follow online that I'm learning some of this stuff from. So when you're looking at creating content for your audiences, remember remember, share what you learn, share what resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate with you or doesn't mean anything to you, or you're still confused by it, may not be the best thing to share in case people have questions. But if it's something that resonates with you and you're not sure in what way, question people on it. Lots of times I see different people from different masterminds I've attended. They don't do a lot of Facebook Lives, they don't do a lot of videos, but they're always asking questions to their audience. Would you like to decorate your house like this is one that I see quite often. Would you take your dog to this type of vet and then, have a little article. All those different kinds of ways are just ways to get people to start engaging with you. So if you're looking at getting an online presence, those are some of the things that you can do. Ask those questions. One of the ladies who's she does Beachbody workouts, and she sells and trains and all that kind of stuff. So she'll ask different training questions. What does it feel like to you? What's the best back exercise that you like? What does it feel like when you're doing a lat pull down? Like she asks these different questions to get people to just engage with her, whatever it happens to be. And sometimes it's just funny. She'll make a comment about her husband doing something, and she'll go, does anyone else have that challenge going on in their life or something? So again, it's just a way to make people engage with you. So does that make sense? The other thing that I want to talk about today is another real estate guru and life personal development coach that I follow a lot is Dean Graziosi, and he actually wrote this book, which was absolutely amazing, called The Millionaire Success Habits: The Gateway to Wealth and Prosperity. And in it, if you sign up, he actually gives you a free book plus shipping. Now, if you get it shipped to Canada, it's more expensive than if you get it shipped from Amazon. I think it's like $30 or something. But he gives you a whole lot of free stuff to go with it, and it's really, really, really powerful. He has a 30-day challenge that gives you some things to think about every single day, and he talks a lot about this kind of stuff too. Like, it's a lot of mindset stuff that most of us weren't trained to think about. And he had a rough life, I think he said his parents, between the two of them, got married like 9 times, and yet he's a fabulous guy. And he talks about a story where him and his father, to keep warm at night, they actually slept in a bathroom and kept the space heater in there to keep them warm. So I mean, to come from a place like that and go on to be a multi-millionaire, he's definitely a driven fellow, but he's worked a lot on personal development, and he's worked a lot on improving himself, and he's had challenges too, like his I believe his teacher told him he was an idiot and would never get anywhere because he couldn't read, only to find out later on that he had dyslexia. I hope this is Dean's story. Sometimes I get them mixed up. And that he also had ADHD, so he had a hard time concentrating. So that made it difficult for him to learn in the traditional sense. Now, for anybody else who has difficulty learning, like one of the students that I was just going through the homework here this weekend, one of the things he said is he has a really hard time writing things down. And you know what? I'm like that too. Like, some things come easy for me to write down, and other things, especially if it's long, I think, I'd rather just talk that through. So, my suggestion back was, instead of writing everything down, if you're finding it really hard to get that done, get an app on your phone and record it. Now, don't send me 25 or 30 minutes of your recording where you're kind of rambling, but ramble to yourself. Get it going, really think it through, and get it down, fine-tuned to about a 3-minute vision. And you know what? You don't have to read that every day. You could listen to it. So maybe as part of your ritual when you get ready in the morning, or as you're getting ready to go to bed at night, or as you're laying in bed and going to sleep, instead of reading your goals, maybe you could listen to them. Because different people have different methods that work better for them. If you have a hard time reading, get the audio books. Audible.com, I believe, has every book out there just about on audio. And listen to it. Listen to it as you're working. Listen to it as you're doing your meal prep for the week. Listen to it as you're driving. Listen to it as you're on the treadmill. Any number of things. A lot of times I'll put a podcast or a video or a webinar on while I'm cooking supper. You know, the kids are usually doing their homework or something, and if they want to talk, I'll just pause it. And if they're working on their homework, then I'm working, they're working, and I'm still making supper at the same time. If I got a load of laundry to fold, I'll just put my phone on the dryer while I'm folding things. And like, I mean, there's so many time management techniques like that that can really, really help you get a lot more done in a day. What else can I think of? Well, if you clean your house, I actually don't clean my own house. I'm lucky I have cleaners that come. But if you clean your own house, I know lots of people. I even know I had a good friend that was a house cleaner, and she would actually just listen to podcasts or webinars or videos while she was cleaning. She'd put her earbuds in, and so nobody else heard anything, and so she got a double whammy. She could get her education while she was earning income. No, I know not all jobs allow for that, but maybe on your coffee break, maybe on your lunch break, you know, especially if you've got kids at home that distract you when you get home. And I think it is awesome. The more time that you spend with them, it's absolutely awesome. But if they're busy doing something else on a puzzle, like stick your earbuds in and listen to something, or if you're waiting for them to come out of a program. I know sometimes I drop my daughter off at dance, and instead of coming home and going back because she's only got a half-hour class, I just sit there, and again I bring up either put on a CD or put on a podcast or a webinar or whatever. When we were traveling up to Meadow Lake at Christmas time on Boxing Day, I listened to a webinar. Loved it so much, and my husband listened to it too. Well, the girls were kind of mad at us because they didn't want to listen to that, so they put in earbuds and were listening to their movie. But we ended up buying another course all about buying businesses. And we listened to 6 modules of it as we were traveling. We couldn't get the homework done because we didn't have our printer there to print it out. But we listened, and that was a good portion of it because, I mean, each module's, you know, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes long. So again, use your vehicle as an education place, and listen to mindset stuff. There's so many good mindset things out there. If you've never checked YouTube, check YouTube and just put in mindset. Listen to some Esther Hicks's stuff. It's really powerful information that she gives out, and she gives you some good exercises and stuff to do too. I know when I first started listening to her, I thought she was a little woo-woo and a little out there, but it's pretty interesting. A lot of people follow her, and what she says just really makes sense if you take the time to really listen. Okay, so is there any questions there? I'm about 20 minutes in, and I feel like I've rambled a lot. Good morning, John, Lindy. Good morning, Mary. Thanks for joining. Does anyone have any questions about mindset? Any routines that you'd like to put into place, or maybe tell me some of the things that work for you when it comes to changing your mindset. If you have if you have a challenge in a day and you notice yourself going to the negative, what do you say to yourself to stop yourself keep going down that path? Courtney says, okay, Louis Dortitz, D-O-R-T-I-Z, is a fun, young, and powerful motivator to find happiness. I just love him. Oh, great. Well, thanks for sharing. And so does he do podcasts or videos or webinars, or how do you follow him? I have not heard of that name before, so I'd like to check it out. And you know what? Everybody has a bit of a different take on things, so I find that interesting too. I like hearing different stuff from different people. Harry says, bitterness and a negative attitude only cloud your brain and make you a miserable human being. Absolutely. I'd like to remind myself that I'm forgiven and delight in forgiving others, which keeps me humble and I've learned that I'm a lot more thankful as a result of it. You know what? Perfect. Absolutely. If we can, just forgive people for doing dumb things, like even road rage. Like some people get road rage. I was reading something about it the other day. It says, who's worse? Are men more worse at having road rage or women? And I think both can very much, but just realize that most of the time, most those people can't hear you anyway, and it's just your own psyche that you're really talking to. Bev says, I have imagine happy button on my hand and I push it. Oh, that's a good one. It works, I imagine. Yeah, it's because it's like an anchor, right? Like Tony Robbins, he's got this anchor. If he does this, he feels a certain way. Or I think if he tugs his ear, I can't remember. Anyway, he's got different things. So yeah, I imagine that would work. Happy button. And Audrey says, this is what I'm doing. Always put positive into my mind. Never go anywhere without my earphone. And don't waste the most valuable resource God has given to me. Perfect. Courtney says, the fellow she was mentioning here, he's big on Instagram and used to be a realtor in New York on HGTV. Okay, so that's how you found him. Perfect. Well, you know what? Those are the kind of things to check out. I mean, there's so many things you can listen to. Maybe listen to some of that stuff instead of listening to the news. We haven't, one of Dean Graziosi's, he does like a minute or 2 minutes and a half video every day and gives you a challenge. And one of the challenges is stay away from TV for a day. And then later on in the 30-day course, he actually mentions it again, stay away from TV for a week. Now, if you can do that, you'll notice a change, absolutely guaranteed. That is, if you don't start picking up the newspaper or going to the bad news stories everywhere else. Newspapers it's been proven that negative news sells, and that's why they do it. And if that's what you want to listen to, fine. I haven't listened to the news on purpose for years. Every once in a while I'm sitting somewhere and it comes on and your eyes are naturally gravitated towards it, and so I'll watch. But there's no feel goods in there. It's all feel bads, and people love to bring that stuff up. Like not too long ago, we were in Fort Lauderdale, and I don't know how many people brought up to me, oh my gosh, that same airport that you're in, there's just a whole bunch of people killed there. Well, you know what, that can happen and does happen. You drive out on the street and you can get killed. So not a place I want to stop and think about. Okay, so Lindy says, I have to take a step back when I feel I'm getting into the negative and realize my reasons. So staying focused on my task for the day, on my goal, and push myself because I'm the only one who can ultimately push myself to that goal. Perfect. That's so true, Lindy. And you just have to and tell people, sometimes when something happens, and it does, like we all have some shit that happens in our life, right? So if you need to, and you do, because it gives you things to think about, even when you're thinking of forgiving someone, go to the pain first and feel it. And what I tell people sometimes is, just sit in that shit for a while and really feel it, and then get out of it, like 2 minutes maximum. Allow yourself to feel that pain, feel that shit, then get out of it and start working on something towards it. Like even that negative that maybe happened to you that you have to forgive someone. What did that teach you? What did you learn by going through that you needed to learn, or that's made you be a different person today? John says something to pay attention to is what type of music you listen to. Music can put a mindset in motion too. Yeah, you know what? I agree. One of my favorite songs is Anything by Headley. I'm not going to try to sing for you, but I Can Do Anything. I love that song. And if I have a real something I want to get into, a good mindset, I put that on and I dance around the house. Rob says most important conversation we have each day is the conversation we have with ourselves. Some things I practice is running truths about yourself through your mind, intentionally getting rid of the lies that bring you down. Monitoring emotions help you to identify. You know what? That's very true. If we can start to realize the conversations that we have with ourselves, because we're with ourselves 24/7. And if you're the person that looks in the mirror and goes, oh my God, I'm so fat, that's another asking the universe for more fat. So change that up. Audrey says, I've not turned on the TV since the beginning of 2013. Good for you. Courtney says, to find positive energy, surround yourself with positive people. You know what? That is a really big one. The people around you make such a difference. Like who you hang around with and what they're thinking, what they're trying to accomplish with their life is so important, because you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And that does include the books you read and the movies you watch and the videos and the YouTubes and all that kind of stuff. So if you spend an hour a day listening to different motivational stuff, consider that hanging around with positive people. If you spend 8 hours a day at a job where you're with negative people, you got to offset that a little, and probably more than the rest of us, because I'm fortunate and I get to keep most of the negative people out of my life. I get the odd time, but most of the time it's pretty darn good. So it's a lot easier to stay positive when you don't have to listen to some of their crap. Good morning, TJ. How's that baby Aubrey doing? I seen a really cute picture of her Uncle Chad holding her. And of course, Lindsay, she's hilarious. And another one that made me laugh out loud, the little girl's looking up at Chad, and Chad has his head all shaved off, and she says, hey, we're sporting the same hairdo. I thought that was just so funny. I just laughed out loud. And so I love stuff like that. Good morning, Shirley. So any other comments about what you do to keep your mindset going and in a good positive place? Because it's nice to be able to share with people. I know back when I first started, I had such a negative mindset. I actually bought a book called What Do You Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. And my worst time always seemed to be first thing in the morning when I woke up. I would just be really down before the blood got moving and stuff. And I would read that because I couldn't think of anything to say to myself positive. So I would just read something somebody else had written, and I did that for months and months on end to get myself in a better place. Corny says, I did the 30-day challenge and it got me going on being consistent in my daily quiet time and reading 1 hour a day. I got my kids involved. We have 1 hour quiet reading time, and then we discuss what we've read, creating new habits one step at a time. That is so perfect. Again, and it is one step at a time. Maybe instead of watching the news, read a book. And if you can get the kids involved doing the same thing, like our kids don't watch much TV either. They'll watch movies when their friends come over, or they'll put on something on Netflix to watch a movie or something, but very, very seldom just watch regular TV. So yeah, that's a good habit. Get your kids into it right away. They won't even miss it. Excellent book. So Linda, you read that book, The Millionaire Success Habits? I love it. You know what? It's going to be one that I keep on my desk and refer back to again and again, because he's got so much good stuff in there. I'm sure I could read it 100 times and I'd still pick out more stuff from there. So we're almost at 10:30. So I'm going to sign off. So I like to keep these to about half an hour so that I give you a little bit of a challenge. So work on your challenge, and either show up next week and let me know how it's working for you, or shoot me an email, because I love to hear what people are doing. And again, if you have any questions, sometimes people don't know how to do it on Facebook, put their words in. So shoot me an email and I'll answer it next time live as well. So everyone have a very, very good week. Remember, put the big rocks in first, the stuff that you want most important to get done. And if every day you can write out the top 3 things that you want to accomplish every day and get them done, you're further ahead than 90% of the people out there. Lindy says, I also love listening to Tony Robbins. One thing that I've watched and listened to over and over again is the success of Sylvester Stallone. I love his, he's got little YouTube videos out, just little pieces here and there. And I love it. Another one is, can't remember the name of the show, but there's a very good part in there. What's his name? He used to be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You guys probably know it. Anyway, I think it's about happiness. Anyway, it's when he goes to be a stockbroker and he tells his child, because his child is playing basketball, and he tells his child, you can't play basketball, you're too short, and the kid's all discouraged. And then he starts talking about, don't let anyone take your dreams away from you, not even your dad. That's a really powerful YouTube video too, if you get a chance to listen to it. Another one is the one where the football player's down on his knuckles. Will Smith, yeah, you're exactly right. The other one is where the football player's down on his knuckles, and he's carrying this guy on his back across the finish line with a blindfold on, so he doesn't know how far. That's very motivational too. And oh yeah, and the show was Pursuit of Happiness. Yeah, exactly. That, I love that show. It was so good. But I love Will Smith. I could watch him all day. He's just brilliant. And he's got lots of YouTube videos out there too to listen to. Really give you some good stuff. Facing the Giants. That's the one with the football player, right, Corny? Very, very good one. The whole show is really, really good. But that one part is just so motivational. It's like we don't even know what we can accomplish until we start pushing ourselves a little bit, right? So I challenge you to push yourself this week and get some of those habits going. Post those things on your mirror, read them every morning, read them every night, and let me know how it's working for you. So have a good week, everyone, and we'll talk soon. Talk next Monday. Bye-bye.